I know when I was first approached with the 5 for 15, my organizer was like, well, what do you think about the 5 for 15? And I'm like, well, I don't think we're going to get it. So I was a non-believer because of how management has a way of putting you down. But when you open your eyes and you realize, no, you know what? This corporation does make a lot of money and I'm making it for them. I may not be making every single cent, but I contribute to it. I should have a bigger contribution back.
I'm Bill Thompson.
Hi, my name is Anisha Williams.
My name is Imelda.
I'm Terrence Wise.
As far as the podcast, I would like to hear more success stories.
I just really want to bring to the table my own experience of empowerment. We have sanitizer, everything. As soon as we talk, we raise our voices, we have everything. And just bring to the table the power that we actually hold, that we don't know that we have until we know.
Those are my coworkers. We're all fast food workers. You see us at the window or at the counter every day when you drive up to get a coffee or a meal to go. We're considered essential workers, but we're without hazard pay, without paid sick leave, and without benefits. And most of us make a lot less than $15 an hour. So we're doing this podcast, Worker Power, so you can get a chance to know us, hear our stories, and our true worth. In this episode, the 5 for 15 in a union.
You know, we got to change a lot of narratives in this country. That old pull yourself up by the bootstraps and individually you can pull yourself out. There is no individual solution.
That right there is Terrence Wise. He's my co-host.
When 64 million folks make less than $15 an hour, when union density in this country is at an all-time low, there is no individual way out of that. You got to have collective action. We've got to come together.
I mean, a lot of people don't understand what it's like to work at fast food or what happens behind the scenes or, you know, what's going on obviously in our personal lives, because we're not going to go around and just blurt it out to customers, right? But hopefully this podcast would shine a light as to, you know, what exactly we go through both at work and at home. I'm Adriana Alvarez. I live in Cicero, Illinois. It's a suburb of Chicago, and I work at a McDonald's. So I started working at McDonald's back in 2010. I was actually still in high school, 17. My mom was like, you have to get a job. So one of my neighbors was a manager there, and she was the one that got me the job. And I thought, you know, oh, I'm only going to be here for like a year or two. Then I'll go to college and, you know, I'll have my whole life set and, you know, thinking it was easy. And then it just turned into 2 years, into 3 years. And I've been there for 11 years now.
What do you say you want for breakfast?
Sausage, bacon, and pancakes.
That's it?
Yeah. Or chorizo.
Chorizo?
No. Just the pancakes, bacon, and sausage. That's it. Okay?
That right there is my son, Manny. He's my whole world. He's an awesome little kid. Not so much a 9-year-old. He has the mentality of a grown man. Super sarcastic. I think that's my fault, though. He's just, honestly, he's wonderful.
What do you want to drink?
Huh?
What do you want to drink?
I just finished this juice. I mean the Sprite.
I can't have Sprite for breakfast.
I know. I'll just drink water.
After he's done with his homework, you know, we'll go outside. He's into skateboarding, or he's recently getting into baseball. My mom actually bought him a baseball bat for his birthday that just passed.
It's hot.
It's hot?
Yep. Eat it.
I don't want it.
Why not?
So right now, all that I can afford is a basement. It constantly floods, like more than ankle level of water. There's bugs. It's humid. not the ideal place to live. So any parent would obviously want something better for their kids. It was hard to afford childcare at one point, not so long ago. They cut me down to 3 days a week, and I was only making like $200 a week, and I was giving $50 in daycare. So that left me with, choices of, do I get food or do I get him the pants that he needs? And it was a struggle. We're so deep in a hole of debt that any extra money, it's going to go right back into that. So it's not like I can save up to get the house. It's not like I can stop paying one bill to save up to get the house. So, there's stuff that needs to be paid, obviously. He's growth spurt. Insane. Like, I just bought him pants. I just bought him shoes. And he's like, Mommy, they don't fit anymore. And what do you tell him? Stop growing? I've told him that, but he says it's a part of life. And he's honestly right. And I can't do anything. So it's hard out here. And I know that people have to go 2-3 jobs working just to make it ends meet. Waking up knowing that you're gonna go to this job where you're being constantly yelled at, possibly sexually harassed, not making enough to come home and put food on the table, and to top it off, you're working close to 40 hours and you still can't survive. It takes a lot. How do you mentally take a break when you're constantly thinking about this bill's coming up? There's no food in the fridge. Maybe my lights are off. My son needs new clothes. How do you ever rest your mind? On top of being drained, you're made to feel that you're worth nothing. You don't feel like you deserve more. I know when I was first approached with the 5 for 15, my organizer was like, well, what do you think about the 5 for 15? And I'm like, well, I don't think we're gonna get it. He goes, well, okay, well, what about 12? I was like, okay, that sounds a little more reasonable. So I was a non-believer because of how management has a way of putting you down. But when you open your eyes and you realize, no, you know what? This corporation does make a lot of money and I'm making it for them. I may not be making every single cent, but I contribute to it. I should have a bigger contribution back. I'm always the one, hey, let's go on strike. Hey, sign this. It's a petition because these managers don't give a crap about us and we need to show them that, we're sticking together and we're not going to put up with it.
McDonald's made over $5 billion in profits last year.
Just at my store in breakfast hours, which is from 4 to 11 on a Saturday, we make more than $5,000 just at my store. So imagine how many stores McDonald's has. It basically has one on every corner.
Former McDonald's CEO Don Thompson even said McDonald's lifting their wages would not hurt the company one bit. They could pay $15 an hour and still make a profit.
I feel like this will make them see that maybe we should value workers who have been here. I know some ladies at my store who've been there for 15, 20 years, and this company just drains you. And, it almost feels like they don't appreciate you because they're constantly telling you, oh, I can replace you. You're replaceable. Well, gee, thanks. I knew that, but it'd be nice if you appreciated, I come here every day. I'm on time. I do my job.
All right, that's enough about me for now. What's your story, Terrence?
My name is Terrence Wise. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. I've worked at McDonald's for 9 years. I've worked in fast food for over 2 decades, and it's work I enjoy. I watched my mother work for Hardee's for 30 years as a manager, and I saw her get up and get dolled up and go to work, bring that joy, that energy, and that passion, and that's the same state I try to put myself in. I started working at Taco Bell in high school. I was an honor roll student. I was in all college prep classes, and I can remember specifically coming home from school one day to do homework and hit the light switch and the lights were off. That's real. And looked in the cupboard and it was no food in there. So I was like, I gotta get a job. I gotta help my mom and dad. I gotta help get the lights back on. I remember my first paycheck from Taco Bell, $150. I gave it to my mom to get the lights turned back on. But I actually started working and joining the workforce to help my family. And I did that.
You took care of your family. You worked hard, and what did you get back?
I still don't have any protection on the job. Me or any of my coworkers, we still face wage theft. Some of the women face sexual harassment. Some men may as well. I don't know what a doctor's visit looks like because I don't have health care. I'm supposed to smile and warmly greet everyone and show these pearly whites, but I don't even have dental insurance. No kind of benefits whatsoever.
And yet, during this pandemic, McDonald's calls us essential workers.
They actually gave me a piece of paper in case I got pulled over by the police that stated that I'm an essential worker. To be labeled as that by my company but not treated like that is a farce. Adriana, we know that I work at McDonald's here in Kansas City, Missouri, and you work at McDonald's in Chicago. And we know that regardless of where we work in this country, McDonald's uniformly controls the straws we use, the bags we use, the uniforms and hats we wear. So, how do you feel that they are not holding up their end when it comes to wage theft, sexual harassment, or any of the other things that workers face on the job?
They don't want to deal with the responsibility of the wages, the responsibility of workers. They just want to be in control of the good parts. But they're missing out because we're really good workers. They can come in and say, you need to pay your workers a livable wage. You need to give them the right to form a union. And that's it. And things would be so much better on so many levels. We're just waiting for it. And I mean, we're going to keep pushing.
And in one word, it's greed. Let's be clear, it's greed on part of McDonald's. Even when we look at the Fight for 15, it's not the first movement to travel across this country. We look back at the civil rights movement, women's right to vote movement, the labor movement. We have the bloodiest labor movement than any other country on the planet. And when we look back at how we've made progress in this country to end slavery or whatever the case may be, they've been long, drawn out, hard, bloody fights.
We have said it so many times, Terrence. So many times. All we want to do is talk. We went to their headquarters in Oak Brook and we turned in our petitions to them. We told them we just want to talk. We know you guys are in there. We can see you. We had, 1.4 million signatures? Something like that. And it was like a total of 4 or 5 boxes that we had to roll up on a dolly. I mean, there's 64 million people out there who make less than 15 an hour. You can imagine how many people signed that petition. And we have yet to have one conversation with them.
It took me more than a minute to realize that I deserved better and I had the right to demand it. I was working and I had just hung up with the missus and we were actually arguing over bills and, trying to decide which one we were going to pay. I was like, pay half on the rent, a little bit on the lights. Then she was like, well, if we do that, then what are we going to eat? And I remember seeing some workers walk in and they approached me and they asked me simple questions that just made too much sense. Like, do you think workers deserve a living wage? And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I like the word living and wage. I can kind of figure that out. So I'm like, yeah, workers deserve that. Do you think workers deserve paid sick leave, vacation time, benefits, and health care? And I'm like, yeah, every worker deserves these things. And they were like, well, workers are not only here in Kansas City, but across the country are coming together, organizing to take action to win these things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all about winning. I played basketball in high school, a little bit of football.
So Terrence, if McDonald's actually raised the minimum wage to a livable wage of 15, what do you see happening?
It definitely causes a ripple effect, not only in fast food, but the working class as a whole. My fiance, who's a home health care worker, who doesn't have a union, doesn't have health care, when a company like McDonald's lifts their standards, everyone else has to follow suit. That's why we gotta keep fighting. But it's going to be a powerful ripple effect across not only the country, but the globe.
Imagine, getting the 15 and being able to enjoy it. I'm going to go spend it. The people think that we're going to hoard it. No, we're going to go out there and spend it. That's why they're saying that, little businesses are not going to make any money. I have 2 corner stores. I don't go to them because their prices are extremely high. But now that I'm getting 15, I'm making more visits to them because it's more convenient. It's right here. We're going to support small businesses. I'm not going to keep it in my pocket because, I need to buy stuff. I need to buy food.
Hey, Terrence, was there a turning point for you? Like when you knew you were going to be in this fight to the end?
Oh, yeah. I was marching down the street in my first Fight for 15 rally. I seen the big, marquee sign. I'm like, damn, I had the bubble guts and we're getting closer to the job. And my daughter, who was like 7 years old at the time, she's like, Daddy, you hiding? You scared? What are you scared of? And at that moment, it clicked in me like, I'm not going to be afraid to fight for my children. And I grabbed her hand, lift my sign up high, and march straight to the front of the line and hold my sign up high and be loud to show my child that this was the right thing to do and that being a part of this fight was right. And I've been a badass ever since.
It took a 7-year-old to call you out, huh?
And what about you? What's one action that stands out in your mind?
I don't remember what year it was, but there was a monsoon. It was raining, pouring out of nowhere. And we were supposed to camp out of McDonald's headquarters. And we still did, but it was so much more uncomfortable because we were all wet. And that day, my basement decided to flood to the max. And I was in Oakbrook, and I stayed there because they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, what can I do but sit here and fight for what I know I deserve to be able to get out of that basement so I don't have to deal with stuff like that.
People ask me, why do you put so much into this? For me, this is the movement I've been waiting for my whole life. We knew from the beginning it had to be a multiracial movement. Even in the beginning when I began organizing, let me tell you, I'd walk into work, and this is before the Fight for 15, and it'll be a group of white workers, Elle and them over there talking, the Hispanic workers over there talking, me and my, brothers and sisters over in the corner. It was segregated. And since the Fight for 15, I can truly say across my city, across Kansas City, and across the country, I've seen in the movement, Black, brown, and white folks come together in the Fight for 15 movement, knowing that it's going to take all of us to make change, and we can't be segregated and divided, or we'll be conquered. What makes you stay in this fight?
That 9-year-old, his smile, his demeanor, like the way he's growing up to be such an awesome young man. I'm gonna cry because without him, I honestly don't know where I would be. So he's my joy, and that's why I keep pushing forward. And I don't like crying because I feel like that shows weakness. But when it comes to him, he's the whole reason why I'm pushing. And I know that it's not just for him. It'll help, bring up a whole bunch of families, a whole bunch of struggling people who are either afraid of talking or can't, or whatever the reason is. And this is why I'm still in the fight.
This podcast is made in the memory of our brother, our friend, a strong fighter in the fight for 15 in the Union, Isaias Sapon. Isaias has took his courage across the globe to fight for what he believed in, 15 in Union for all workers, regardless of your status, black or white, Hispanic, Latina. Isaias was a true fighter, and he will be missed.